यो भगवते वासुदेव नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीमुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण little hanged computer. In fourth canto, chapter 7, we completed till the text number 17. So Daksha Prajapati, so on the request of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva reduced the punishment of Daksha and others who assisted Daksha. Lord Shiva revived Daksha, but he gave him the head of a goat. Similarly, others, Gurugumunis got the mustache of a goat. Bhaga's teeth was restored. He could eat with the somebody else's teeth. Like the punishment was reduced by Lord Shiva. And then, in order to again restart the sacrifice, Daksha Prajapati offered the Purodasha. The Brahmanas offered the Purodasha related to Vishnu in order to purify the sacrificial arena, which was contaminated by the touch of Virabhadra, the associate of Lord Shiva. So then, 18th shloka, I'm not able to. Okay, now it's coming. Somebody can repeat after me. 18th shloka. Advaryunat havisha
Advaryunat havisha
yajamano vishampate
यजमानो विशाम्पते
धिया vishuddhaya dadyau
धिया विशुद्धया दध्यौ
तथा pradurabhutarihi.
तथा प्रादुरभूतरिः. Translation. Can you raise this thing? The great sage Maitreya said to Vidura, "My dear Vidura, as soon as King Daksha offered the clarified butter with Yajurveda mantras in sanctified meditation, Lord Vishnu appeared there in his original form as Narayana.
So here we see Advaryu Atta Havisha. Daksha, by using the Advaryu priest to offer oblations, concentrated with a pure mind so that the Lord appeared. He Vishampate. Maitreya Rishi is addressing Vidura by the word He Vishampate, He Vidura. Atta Havisha Advaryuna Yajamanaha. Atta Havisha Advaryuna. So they offered a Havi is basically the oblation we offer in the sacrifice. Atta Havisha, उस हविष्य को हाथ में लेकर, Advaryu is the name of the priest. So Advaryu was having the oblations in his hand, and he was going to offer into the sacrifice. Yajamana refers to Daksha, and that Daksha, Vishuddhaya Diya, with a purified intelligence. With the purified intelligence, Dadyav, he meditated upon Lord Hari. So Tata Harihi Pradurabhut. At that time, the Lord Hari appeared. So then, further, next sloka. So Prabhupada's purport. Any devotee who in sanctified meditation, following the regulative principles, chants the required mantras in service and in a devotional mood, can see Krishna. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Tada Swaprabhaya Tesham.
तदा स्वप्रभया तेषाम्
द्योतयन्त्यादिशो दश
द्योतयन्त्यादिशो दश
मुष्णं स्तेजवुपानीत
मुष्णं तेज उपानीतस्
तार्क्ष्येण स्तोत्रवाजिना.
ताक्षेण स्तोत्रवाजिना. Lord Narayan was seated on the shoulder of Stotra or Garuda, who had big wings. As soon as the Lord appeared, all directions were illuminated, diminishing the luster of Brahma and the others present.
So tada, at that time, stotravajina tarkshena. So tarksha refers to Garuda. Tarksha refers to Garuda, and stotravajina tarkshena, when the Garuda has two wings, when Garuda flaps his wings, from the flapping of the wings, the Samaveda mantras, the sound of the Samaveda mantras is heard. There are two Samaveda mantras, the Samaveda songs, Brihad and Ratantara. So when Garuda flaps his wings, this Brihad and Ratantara, these Samaveda songs are heard. So this so Tata Stotravajina Tarkshena Upanitaha. Upanitaha means Samipam Prapitaha. Garuda was standing next to Lord Vishnu was standing next to Garuda, who has the wings by which by his wings he actually chants the Samaveda mantras. So that Garuda had Hare Krishna. So that Garuda had brought Lord Vishnu to that place. And when Lord Vishnu arrived there, Disho Dasha Jyotayantya, all the 10 directions, Lord Vishnu spread his effulgence in all the 10 directions. Disho dasha dyotayantya swaprabhaya tesham tejaha mushnan. So Lord Vishnu's effulgence spread to all the 10 directions. By the influence of the Lord Vishnu's effulgence, tesham tejaha mushnan. All their effulgences got diminished. The effulgence of all the people present in that assembly, that became insignificant. So here we see that previously, when Daksha Prajapati had entered the sacrifice, we remember in the 4th canto, 2nd chapter. So at that time, in the 2nd chapter, when Daksha Prajapati entered the sacrificial arena, by the effulgence of Daksha, others became insignificant. But now, when Vishnu entered, everyone's effulgence became insignificant, including Daksha, Brahma, Shiva, everyone. So now the next 2 shlokas give a description of the Lord. Let's read this. In this purport. Shyamo hiranyarashanorkakireetajushto
Shyamo hiranyarasano kiriti jasto
Neelalaka bhamara mandita kundalasyah
Neelalaka samara mandita kundalasya
Shankabja chakra sharachapa gadasi charma
Shankabja Charaksara Chakrasara Chapa Gadasi Charma
Vyagrair hiranmaya bhujayriva karnikarah
Vyagre Hiranyamaya Bhujer Iva Karnikara. Translation. His complexion was blackish, his garment yellow like gold, and his helmet as dazzling as the sun. His hair was bluish and color of black bees, and his face was decorated with earrings. His 8 hands held a conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, arrow, bow, shield, and sword, and they were decorated with golden ornaments, such as bangles and bracelets. His whole body resembled a blossoming tree beautifully decorated with various kinds of flowers.
So Shyamaha. So the Lord's complexion was black. Shyamaha. Hiranya Rashanaha. So Rashana refers to the belt on his hips. Hiranya Rashanaha. He had a golden belt. उनके कमर में सुवर्ण की खरदनी थी. He had a golden belt. Arka Kirita Jushta. Arka refers to a sun. Kirita. So the Lord's helmet, Kirita, was effulgent like the sun. Was shining like the sun. Arka Kirita Jushta. Neelalaka Brahmara Mandita Kundalasya. Neelalaka. So Brahmara Mandita. The Lord had a curly bluish hair. Neela Alaka Brahmara. And the curly bluish hair of Lord appeared like the Brahmara, the bees. So he had a black like the Lord was having a face surrounded by locks of hair which were black like the bees. Neela refers to here black actually. Neelalaka Brahmara. So his face was surrounded by the curly locks of hair which appeared like black bees. And Mandita Kundalasya. Mandita Kundalasya. He was wearing a beautiful kundala, or he was having his ears were having ornaments of the kundala. And then the Lord had appeared with the 8 hands. What was he holding in the 8 hands? Kambu Abja, Chakra, Shara. Chapa, Gada, Sichama, Vyagai, Hiranmaya Bujaihi, Karnikaraka Iva. In his 8 hands, he had Kambu Abja. Sorry, Kamvajja or Shankabja it is mentioned. Shankabja is the word. Some places it is mentioned as Shankabja. Some versions of the shloka it is Kamvabja. Shanku. He was having 8 hands. In 8 hands, he was holding Shanka, conch shell, Abja, lotus flower, Chakra, and Shara. Shara means arrow. Shara and bow. Chapa means a bow. And Gada, club. And Charma is the shield. Vyagrair Hiranmaya Bujair Iva Karnikaraha. So conch shell, lotus, chakra, arrow, bow, club, and shield. The 7 are coming.
मराठी मैम ने स्टोरी बोला देखने
The sound keeps coming.
लीव करूं
Prabhuji, sword is there. Sword also is there. Sword.
Sword is also there. Okay. Shanka, Abja, Chakra, Shara, Chapa, Gada, Asi. Yeah, Asi is missing. Asi is the sword. Gada, Asi, Charma. So Vyagrair Hiranmaya Bujair. Hiranmaya Bujair, Iva Karnikara. In his golden ornamented hands, Iva Karnikara. Like a Karnikara tree. So the Lord appeared like a flowering Karnikara tree, or like a lotus with 8 petals, because he was holding 8 weapons. So there is the Lord's face is compared to a lotus, and his hair is compared to the bees, because the bees surround the lotus. And the Lord's earrings are compared to the sun, which comes to make the lotus blossom. Let us see Prabhupada's purport. The face of the Lord, as described in this verse, appears like a lotus flower with bees humming over it. So all the ornaments of the Lord resemble molten gold of the reddish golden color of the morning sunrise. So he was having different weapons in his arms. So these 4 symbols are seen in 4 hands of Vishnu, different arrangements. So club and wheel are meant for the punishment of the demons. Lotus flower and conch shell are used to bless the devotees. So always there are devotees and demons are always present. There is an eternal Devasura Sangrama. There is an eternal war between the divine forces and the demonic forces. Devasura Sangrama is eternally present. So Lord Vishnu is the proprietor of both the material and spiritual worlds. In the material world, almost everyone is of the demoniac nature, but there are also devotees who appear to be in the material world, but although they are situated in the spiritual world. And such a devotee is protected by Vishnu. Further, next shloka also the description of the Lord. Vakshasya Dishritabadur Vanamalyudara
Vakshasya Visidur Vanamalyadhara
Asavaloka Kalaya Ramayam Cha Vishvam
Asavaloka Kalaya Ramayamscha Vishwam
Parshvabhramat Vyajana Chamara Raja Hamsaha
Ashwa Brahmat Vyajana Chamara Raja Hamsaha
Shvetata Shashino Parirajyamanaha
Svetata Patra Shashino Parirajyamanaha. Translation: Lord Vishnu looked extraordinarily beautiful because the goddess of fortune and a garland were situated on his chest. His face was beautifully decorated with a smiling attitude which can captivate the entire world, especially the devotees. Fans of white hair appeared on both sides of the Lord like white swans, and the white canopy overhead looked like the moon.
So Vakshasya Adhishrita Vadu. Vakshasya Adhishrita Vadu. Keep it there. Look at the shloka. Vakshasi, in the chest of the Lord, Vakshasthal mein. Adhishrita Vadu refers to भगवान के वक्षस्थल में लक्ष्मी का श्रीवत्स चिन्ह विद्यमान था. Lakshmi was situated in the form of the Srivatsa in the chest of the Lord. Vanamali, the Lord had a garland of the forest flowers, garland made of the forest flowers. Udara Hasavaloka Kalaya, he had a Udara Hasa, a magnanimous smile. Avaloka Kalaya cha Vishwam Ramayan, and with his glance, he was actually making the whole universe blissful. Vishwam Ramayan. संपूर्ण जगत को आनंद मग्न कर रहे थे. And then Parshva Brahmad Vyajana Chamara Rajahamsa. Parshva Brahmad Vyajana Chamara Rajahamsa. So that means on his both sides, Parshva Brahmad Vyajana Chamara Rajahamsa. The associates of the Lord, Rajahamsa, like a Rajahamsa, they were actually holding the chamara. Chamara is white in color. Vyajana chamara. They were actually fanning the Lord with the two chamara, which were that chamara appeared like the Rajahamsa. And Shvetata Patra Shashino Parirajyamanaha. On the top of the Lord, there was a Atapatra, there was an umbrella. On the Shveta Atapatra, it was white in color. Shvetatapatra Shashinopari. Shashinopari Rajyamana. शिर के ऊपर विद्यमान श्वेत छत्र से वे सुशोभित थे. The Lord was decorated or adorned with the white lotus umbrella on the top. So on his chest was Lakshmi and a garland. He gave delight to the whole universe with his elegant smile, sweet glance. At his sides were a fan and a chamara. Parshva Brahmat Vyajana. One side there was a chamara, and other side there was a peacock fan. Like two swans. Rajahamsa. And above his head was a white umbrella. Shashinopari, that umbrella was shining like a moon. Shining like a moon. So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti says that, so the Lord gave pleasure to the whole universe by the skill of his smiling eyes, raining jewels of sweetness. What then to speak of the sweetness those eyes give to the devotees? So the Lord was actually giving pleasure to the whole universe. What to speak of actually his devotees? They must be getting much greater pleasure. And the Lord looked like a 8-petaled lotus. It was mentioned in the previous purport. What are the 8 petals? Fan, chamara, and white umbrella, crown, and the face of the Lord, the 2 earrings, and the Lakshmi Devi. These are compared to the 8 petals. The fan and chamara were like the 2 swans. The white umbrella was like the moon. And below the white umbrella was the mukuta, that was like the sun. And then below the mukuta is the face of the Lord. And that face is like the lotus. Face is the lotus. And besides the face, there were 2 earrings. And the 2 earrings are like 2 more suns. There is 1 sun on the top like a helmet. And 2 earrings were also like 2 suns. And then and the chamara and the fan, they were also like 2 swans. And below his face, Lakshmi was like a lightning. Lakshmi was like a lightning. In this way, everything together was like a 8-petaled lotus. So Daksha saw Vishnu was astonishing with moon, sun, lightning, bees, swans, conch, chakra, club, lotus, bow, arrow, and shield. Very beautiful description of the Lord. So when we see here, we contrast this episode with the 10th canto. In this episode, when the Lord Vishnu appeared, you will see in the next 2 shlokas how everybody was struck with wonder. Everybody was struck with awe and reverence. That is the mood here. That is the Vaikunta Aishwarya mood here. But later we will see the 10th canto in the Agasur pastime. After killing Agasur, so before killing Agasur, after like Krishna, before the killing of Agasur, Krishna was sitting along with the cowherd boy friends. And the cowherd boy friends, whatever they had got in the lunch pack, they would actually eat that and see whether it is good or not, and then they would give it to Krishna. That means like they were giving their juta to Krishna, they were giving their remnants to Krishna. And Krishna would eat it with great relish. So you can see the contrast here, this 4th canto and the 10th canto there. The mood of the cowherd boy, there is no mood of awe and reverence. Usually we have to offer the best of the offerings, the best of the cleanliness, best of the vessels we offer to Krishna. The cowherd boyfriend, they would taste something that they were giving to Krishna. There was no mood of awe and reverence. The Bhagavatam is taking us gradually to the 10th canto there. But here in the 4th canto, when all the people, Daksha and all the people, when they saw the form of Vishnu, they were all struck with wonder, they were struck with awe and reverence. That is what the response of the Devata that is described in the next 2 shlokas. Let us see Prabhupada's purport. The smiling face of Vishnu is pleasing to the whole world. Even the non-devotees are attracted by such a smile. This verse nicely describes how the sun, moon, 8-petaled lotus flower and humming black bees were represented with the fans of the hair, the overhead canopy, already described that. So these presented a grand and a beautiful audience for Lord Vishnu, which captivated all the devatas, including Daksha and Brahma. Next shloka. Tamupagatamaalakshya.
Tamupagatam alakshya
Sarve Suraganadayah.
sarve suraganadayah
Pranemussakhasothaya.
pranemusahasothaya
Brahmendra Trakshanayakaha.
Brahmendra Trakshanayaka. Translation. As soon as Lord Vishnu was visible, all the demigods, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the Gandharvas, and all present there, immediately offered their respectful obeisances by falling down straight before him.
Upagatam tam alakshya. Upagatam tam alakshya. The Lord who had come there, by seeing that Lord, alakshya, Brahmendra Trayakshanayakaha. That means Brahma, Indra, and Trayaksha. Trayaksha refers to the person who has 3 eyes. It refers to Lord Shiva. Brahma, Indra, and Shankar, Lord Shiva, Trayakshanayakaha, Sarve Suraganadayaha, all the devatas, Sahasa Uttaya Pranemihu, immediately they got up and offered obeisances to Lord Vishnu. Therefore, I mentioned the mood of awe and reverence here. अचानक उठकर खड़े हो गए और श्री भगवान को प्रणाम किए. So here we see, like we also saw in the previous chapter, when all the devatas headed by Brahma, when they went to Lord Shiva, how they glorified Lord Shiva, offered obeisances to Lord Shiva. But here, all the devatas, including Brahma and Shiva, how they are offering obeisances to Vishnu with great reverence. That's what we see here. The Prabhupada says that it appears that Vishnu is the supreme Lord even of Shiva and Brahma, what to speak of the devatas, Gandharvas and other living entities. Therefore, we have the prayer. The Prabhupada is quoting a verse from the 12th canto. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta. All the devatas worship Lord Vishnu. Dhyana Vastita Tad Gatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginah. The yogis concentrate their minds on the form of Vishnu. Thus, Vishnu is worshipable by all the devatas, all the Gandharvas, and even Shiva and Brahma. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah. So, Vishnu is worshipped by all the Suras, all the devatas. So, even though Lord Shiva was previously referred to in praise by Lord Brahma as the Supreme, but when Lord Vishnu appeared, Shiva also fell prostrated before him to offer respectful obeisances. Next shloka. Tattejasa hatarucha
तत्तेजसा हत्तरुचा
sannajihva sasadvasaha
सन्नजिह्वान जिह्वास साध्वसः
मूर्ध्ना धृतांजलि पुटा
मूर्ध्ना धृताञ्जलिपूता
उपतस्तुरदोक्षजम्.
उपतस्थुर अधोक्षजम्. Translation: in the presence of the glaring effulgence of the bodily luster of Narayana, everyone else's luster faded away, and everyone stopped speaking. Fearful with awe and veneration, all present touched their hands to their heads and prepared to offer their prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adokshaya.
Tattejasa hataruchah. By the effulgence of Lord Vishnu, hataruchah, all their lusters had faded. And sanna jihvaha, that means they became silent suddenly because they were so much struck with awe and reverence. Sanna jihvaha, उनकी जीभ लड़खड़ाने लगी. लड़खड़ाने लगी means the tongue started, what do you say?
Stammering.
Stammering, yeah, stammering. So sanna jihva, that also it means mentioned. Prabhupada has translated it with the silent tongues. Or the tongue started stammering because of they're so much struck with the awe and reverence towards Vishnu. Sasadvasaha, that means like sasadvaka, so means unka chitta shuddha ho gaya. That means their consciousness became suddenly agitated, the agitated hearts. Sasadvasaka means with the agitated hearts. And in that state, Murdna Dhritanjali Puta. So they offered Dandavat Pranam. They offered full Dandavat. Murdna Dhritanjali Puta with the Anjali Mutra. And then with the folded hands. Adokshajam Upatastuhu. They started glorifying Lord Adokshaja. So we can see every word is very important. What was the impact of Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena? What is the impact of that on the people present over there? Their effulgence got faded and their tongue started stammering. Their heart was agitated and they offered prostrated obeisances. And then with the Anjali Mudra, they started offering prayers to the Lord. You see Prabhupada's purport. It's no purport. And the next shloka. Apyarvagrittayo yasya
Bold.
अप्यवागृतयो यस्य
mahitvatmabhuvadayah
महित्व आत्मभुवः भुवदयः
yathamati grinanti sma
यथामति गृह्णन्ति स्म
kritanugraha vigraham.
कृतानुग्रह विग्रहम्. Translation. Although the mental scope of even demigods like Brahma was unable to comprehend the unlimited glories of the Supreme Lord, they were all able to perceive the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His grace. Only by such grace could they offer their respectful prayers according to their different capacities.
So yes, yasya mahitu atmabhuvadayah api arvagrittayah. Yasya mahitu, the glories of the Lord. The glories of the Lord, Atma Bhuvadaya happy. Atma Bhu refers to Brahma. Even Brahma and others, Arvagrittaya. Arvagrittaya means even Brahma and others, they cannot comprehend the glories of Lord. Yasya Mahitu Atma Bhuvadaya api Arvagrittaya. Although the glories of the Lord are beyond the comprehension of even personalities like Brahma, Krita Anugraha Vigraham. Krita Anugraha Vigraham Tam Yatamati Grinanti Sma. But Lord Vishnu had appeared in order to show mercy to the people there. So, although the glories of the Lord are beyond the comprehension of even the Devatas like Brahma, but by the mercy of Lord, or the Lord who had appeared there in order to show mercy, all these people, all these devatas, all the people present in that assembly, yatamati grinanti sma, they glorified Lord Vishnu according to their capacity. उन भक्तों पर कृपा करने के लिए प्रकट हुए श्री भगवान को वे लोग अपने बुद्धि के अनुसार स्तुति करने लगे. So here we see this is this kind of verse comes with various places in the Bhagavad. How they glorified according to their capacity. Maitreya Rishi says that Tatapi kirtayamanga yatamati yata shrutam kirtim hare swam satkartum giramanya vidasati. After describing the universal form of the Lord, he says that I have described the universal form of the Lord according to my capacity, according to my intelligence. If I don't engage my tongue in glorifying the Lord, my tongue will become unchaste. Prahlad Maharaj speaks a similar thing. Tasmadaham vigata viklava ishwarasya sarvatmana mahigranami yata manisham nicho jaya guna visargamanu pravishta puyeta yena hi pumananu. Prahlad Maharaj says that I give up the conception of being unfit. I give up the conception of being unfit to offer prayers. Because any person, how much ever fallen one may be, if a person offer prayers according to his capacity, one can get purified. Prahlad Maharaj also says. And Prachetas, when they offer prayer, the fourth canto, the 30th chapter, they say, Manuswayambur Bhagavan Bhavascha Yenye Tapogyan Vishuddha Sattvaha Adrishtapara Apiyanmahimno Stuvantyato Tvatma Samam Grinimaha. The Prachetas are saying that even the great yogis and mystics who are very much advanced by virtue of austerities and knowledge and who have completely situated themselves in pure existence, as well as great personalities like Manu, Brahma and Shiva, they cannot fully comprehend the glories, your glories and potencies. Nonetheless, they have offered their prayers according to their own capacities. In the same way, although we are much lower than these personalities, we will also offer prayers according to our own capacity. So therefore, nobody can say that I am so fallen that I cannot serve Krishna. Nobody can say that I am so fallen that I cannot chant the holy names. Sutta Goswami also says in the first canto, just like a bird flies according to its capacity in the air, similarly, I will glorify the Lord according to my capacity. So sometimes the people say in book distribution, they say, oh, I cannot touch Gita because I have eaten meat, like that people say. So people think that I've eaten meat or I smoke, so therefore I cannot touch Gita, I cannot touch Gita, I cannot touch the bead bag, I cannot chant the holy names. So the point is that, one should, especially when we are worshipping the deities, we have to, purity is important, cleanliness is important. But at the same time, Krishna can be approached by however impure a person may be. Krishna's name can be chanted, Krishna can be glorified, Krishna can be served, however impure one can be. Nobody can say that I am so fallen that I cannot serve the Lord. So Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport here. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. So his glories cannot be enumerated by anyone, even by personalities like Brahma. So we know the story of Ananta. Lord Brahma told Ananta to lift the Brahmanda. Ananta asked, like, how long I should actually lift? And Brahma said that you start glorifying the Lord. When the glories of the Lord come to an end, then you can keep the Brahmanda. You can keep back the Brahmanda. You keep the universe back. So instead of telling directly that you have to keep the holding the universe for the rest of all time, for eternity, he said that you keep glorifying the Lord. When the glories of the Lord come to an end, then you can actually keep this thing back. So even Ananta with his thousands of heads, he couldn't actually complete the glories of the Lord. But although glories of the Lord are unlimited, but one can offer praise to the Lord according to one's particular capacity. Sevonmukhehi jihvado swayam eva spuratyadaha. So that service to Krishna begins with the tongue. So we have to begin our service to the unlimited with the tongue and become perfect in chanting and accepting the Lord's prasad. The tongue is considered to be the most uncontrollable sense because it hankers for so many unwholesome eatables. If a person can manage to control the tongue, then one can control all the other senses. So, as the living entity transmigrate from one form of life to another, he has to eat so many abominable footsteps that finally there is no limit. The tongue should be engaged in chanting and eating the Lord's prasadam so that the other senses will be controlled. So chanting is the medicine, prasad is the diet. So then Prabhupada says that, so when a person engages the senses in the service of Krishna with the service attitude, as the service attitude increases more and more, the Lord reveals more and more to the devotee. As the service attitude increases more and more, the Lord reveals more and more to the devotee. That is why in the previous also he mentioned that. One can offer praise or service to the Lord according to one's particular capacity. If one's capacity is only limited, one can offer according to his capacity, he can actually offer service. But then when his service attitude increases, then the Lord gives the devotee greater capacity to render service. So right now, suppose you have the capacity to render service to Krishna, say in any way. How do we render service to Krishna? By pranir arthair diya vacha. With our energy, with our money, with our intelligence, and with our words. So right now, if we are able to render with any of these faculties to some extent, but if your service attitude increases, Krishna will give a greater capacity to render service. So that is a beautiful point Prabhupada is citing in the purport. The capacity is increased by the service spirit. So, next shloka. Daksho grihitarhana sadhanottamam
Daksho grihitaran sadhanottamam
Yajneshwaram Vishwasrujam Param Gurum
Yagneshwaram Vishwasrujam Param Gurum
Sunandanandadyanugairvritam muda
Sunandanandar Sunandanandar Nada
Sunandanandadyanugairvritam muda
Sunandanandadyanugair Vrita Muda
Grinan prapede prayatakritanjalihi.
Grinan Prapede Preta Kritanjate Jalihi. When Lord Vishnu accepted the oblations offered in the sacrifice, Daksha, the Prajapati, began with great pleasure to offer respectful prayers unto him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the master of all sacrifices and preceptor of all the Prajapatis, and he is served even by such personalities as Nanda and Sunanda.
Grihita Arhana Sadhanottamam. Grihita Arhana Sadhanottamam Dakshaha. So Lord Vishnu had offered different oblations. Grihita Arhana Sadhanottamam Dakshaha Sunanda Nanda Nandadya Anugair Vritam. So Lord Vishnu was surrounded by Sunanda, Nanda, and other associates. Vishwasrujam Param Gurum. Vishwasrujam Param Gurum Yagneshwaram. Three words are used to indicate Lord Vishnu. Who is the Guru of the whole universe? Yagneshwaram, who is the master of the sacrifice. Vishwasrujam, who is the creator of the universe. Prayataha Kritanjalihi Grinan Prapede. Lord, the Daksha Prajapati, with the folded hands, Grinan Prapede, he surrendered, he offered, started glorifying the Lord. So, Grihita Arhana Sadhanottamam Dakshaha. So, that means what? With the folded hands and the concentrated mind, Daksha joyfully offered prayers. Muda Grinan. Joyfully offered prayers. Prapede means he offered obeisances, surrendered to the Lord, who is the master of sacrifice, Yagneshwaram. Param Gurum, the supreme Guru. And Vishwasrujam, who accepts the offerings of sacrifice. Sorry. Class முடிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் So accepts the offerings of sacrifice in the best vessels. The Supreme Guru who accepts the offerings of sacrifice in the best vessels and who is surrounded by Sunanda and Nanda. So Grihita Arhana Sadhana Uttamam. Vishnu Chakravartipad translates this phrase as that Supreme Lord who accepts the offerings of sacrifice in the best of the vessels. Sadhana Uttamam. So the Lord Vishnu. So there are four adjectives to describe the Supreme Lord. One is Param Gurum, Guru of the entire Param Gurum, the Supreme Guru. Another is Vishwasrujam. Vishwasrujam, that means the creator of the universe. Vishwasrujam. And the third adjective is Yagneshwaram, the master of sacrifice. And the fourth adjective is Grihita Arhana Sadhanottamam. That person who accepts the offerings of sacrifice in the best vessels. That Lord Vishnu, to that Lord Vishnu, Daksha Prajapati offered prayers with the folded hands and with a concentrated mind. And from the next shloka, the prayers start. So we will just, I will start the prayers in the next class. Actually. The 26th shloka. So there are many prayers offered by all the personalities in that assembly. They offered prayers to Vishnu. Just one shloka or two shlokas like that. So anybody has any questions or comments? If there is a purport, I'll check. Oh, there's no purport. Yes, Matas.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This Vishnu here, Vishnu appeared with the 8 hands as it is described. Normally Vishnu appears in 400 form. Is there any particular significance that his appearance with 8 hands?
Vishnu Chakravartipad purport, it is not mentioned. Sometimes certain significance may be mentioned by other acharyas. We'll have to check if there is something mentioned in the other commentaries. I'll have to check in other commentaries whether something.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, which is that shloka that says that Ya Brahma Varunendra
Yam
Maruta
Brahma
Stuvan- Stuvantide, something like that. Vedesh. I forget.
That shloka, let me show you. Varunen. Yam Brahma. 12.13.1. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyai Stavair. Last chapter of the Bhagavatam, first shloka. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyai Stavair. Vedai Sangapada Kramapo Upanishadair Gayanti Yam Samaga. Dhyana Vastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino. Yasyantam na vidusura suragana devaya tasmai namaha. And to that personality whom Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra and the Maruts praise by chanting the transcendental hymns and reciting the Vedas with all their Puranaris, Padakramas and Upanishads, to whom the chanters of the Samaveda always sing, whom the perfected yogis see within their minds after fixing themselves in trance and becoming fully absorbed in thoughts of him, and whose limit can never be found by any demigod or demon. And to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my humble obeisances. 12.13.1.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in verse 25, you mentioned four words that describe Lord Vishnu. Can you just let me know the four words?
4 words.
Uh,
So what I mentioned was that the 4 words are Yajneshwaram,
yeah,
Vishwasrajam,
yeah.
Param Gurum, and then the 4th word is in the first line, Grihitarhana Sadhanottamam. The complete phrase actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Grihitarhana Sadhanottamam. That Vishnu who is to whom the offerings are made in the best of the vessels. Sadhana means the vessels. Sadhanottamam in the best of the vessels. Grihita Arhana. Grihita Arhana, the different oblations or different offerings are made in the best of the vessels. That personality Vishnu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, you said best of what did you say?
Best of the vessels.
Okay.
Best of the sacrificial vessels. Hare Krishna. So then questions will stop here. We'll continue next week. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you.